بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the upcoming few videos, inshallah, we will discuss Surah Al-Ma'arij. It is a Makki surah, and like many Makki surahs, it addresses the matters related to Aqidah, faith, our actions in this world, and their consequences in the hereafter. The first verse begins with سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ بِعَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ. سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ literally translates to a person has asked. سَأَلَ is a verb to ask, and سائل is the person, it refers to the person who asked. However, this is not a genuine question. The individual is challenging Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, hastening the punishment he warns them about out of disbelief. Ibn Abbas narrated that this verse refers to a specific individual named An-Nadr ibn al-Harith, but other narrations state that it refers to the disbelievers in general who arrogantly ask such questions, just as past nations challenged the prophets alayhimus salam. In other surah, we see the verse أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَعِظَامًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ. When we are dead and reduced to dust and bones, will we really be resurrected? The verse ends with واقع. سأل سائل بعذاب واقع. A person has asked about a punishment that is bound or bound to come. For whom, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarifies in the next verse, لِلْكَافِرِينَ لَيْسَ لَهُ دَافِعٌ. For the disbelievers to be averted by none. This person challenged the Prophet ﷺ to bring forth the punishment, and Allah affirms that the punishment is indeed coming for the disbelievers and that no one will be able to prevent it. The third verse says, مِنَ اللَّهِ ذِي الْمَعَارِجِ. From Allah, the punishment is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of Ascent. Scholars interpret this as Allah being the Lord of elevation, virtues, and blessings, because al-ma'arij is elevation. But you might recognize the word al-ma'arij from al-mi'raj, the same root word as al-mi'raj in al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, the event or the journeys when Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam traveled from Mecca to al-Masjid al-Aqsa and then ascended through the heavens. So we can understand this verse as referring to Allah, the Lord of heavenly ascent. The next verse, تعرج إليه الملائكة والروح في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. The angels and the Spirit will ascend to him on a day that lasts 50,000 years in length. Scholars have offered various interpretations of ar-ruh. Some said that it refers to the human spirit, while others, and this is the most accepted interpretation in general, refer to it as Jibreel alayhi salam, the angel Jibreel alayhi salam. And this is because Jibreel alayhi salam has been referred to in the Quran multiple times as ar-ruh al-Qudus. But what is this day that lasts 50,000 years in length? Allahu A'lam, there are a few interpretations, but the most likely one is that this day is the day of resurrection, the day of judgment, and it will last 50,000 years. The verse highlights the might of that day, the day during which the angels and the Spirit are busy conducting their assigned tasks. The day that, whether metaphorically or literally, lasts 50,000 years. And what I mean by metaphorically or literally could be that we feel the day is so terrifying that it lasts 50,000 years in our perception, or it could be literal because every star, subhanallah, has its own. Our day is defined by the rotation of the earth around itself, and so this may be a different definition of 50,000 years. So let's recap a little what we've read so far. A person has challenged Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam to bring forth the punishment that Allah has decreed for the disbelievers. And Allah affirms for us that this punishment will come and that no one will be able to avert it. Allah describes His immense power, stating that He is the Lord of heavenly ascent, and that the punishment will occur on a day that is 50,000 years in length. And how does Allah instruct Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to respond to this disbeliever and challenger? He tells him, فَاصْبِرْ صَبْرًا جَمِيلًا. So endure, O Prophet, with beautiful patience. إِنَّهُمْ يَرَوْنَهُ بَعِيدًا. They see it as very far. They see it as impossible to happen. وَنَرَاهُ قَرِيبًا. But we see it as very near and inevitable. This is an acknowledgement of the difficulty of the Prophet ﷺ's task and the heaviness of his burden. Allah's order also applies to us to have patience, to stay united, and to always look to the ultimate goal. Beautiful patience is a literal translation of sabran jamil, but it indicates the type of patience coupled with contentment and reassurance. It is the patience of someone who is certain of the truth and content with Allah's will and decree. In these 7 verses, we read about the promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made, which the disbelievers hasten. They hasten that the punishment comes forth. And Allah determines events and their timings as He pleases according to His plan for the universe. Human beings remain unaware of His will and plan and therefore hasten things. But as Allah commanded in these verses, we must have beautiful patience, undoubtful of the truth and His promise. In the next video, inshallah, we will read the verses that describe the day of resurrection. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.